Shalom, and welcome back to Bnei Noach Academy, Thoughts on Life. Please remember to hit the like button, to subscribe, and most importantly, to share this insight and inspiration with friends and family. So I have a question. Do Jews still eat Gentile blood mixed into their Passover matzah? I know you're thinking, this guy's nuts. What kind of question is that? Of course not, right? In fact, it seems so absurd to even suggest something like this. Well, if we only go back in history, not that long ago, not really that long ago, the last blood libel was about 150 years ago? A little less, actually. Go back 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. Jews would tremble in fear as their most joyous holiday, or what is supposed to be the most joyous holiday, the holiday of freedom, namely Passover, was approaching, because you didn't know where it's going to come from. You didn't know where it's going to rear its ugly head from, but you were certain that in some city, somewhere, especially in Europe, someone is going to pop up with the accusation that a Christian child has gone missing and the Jews are at fault. The perpetrators, that is, of those innocent children, putting them to death to drain out their blood and mix it into their holy bread, namely the matzah, which they consume for the 7 days of Passover. You're still thinking this is crazy, but all you have to do is read history. Thousands of Jews lost their lives. Thousands were tortured to make confessions that indeed they were involved in these atrocities. Every single time. It was a made-up story because it doesn't exist. Anyone that knows anything, even a little child that just went through the Torah once, knows how severe the prohibition is against eating blood, how terrible it is for a Jew to consume blood, to the extent that if you ever purchase kosher meat or kosher chicken, you will notice that it has an inherent salty taste in it. Because in order to drain the meat from the blood, it goes through a process in which it gets salted for over an hour. Have you ever noticed those kosher salt? There's boxes that say kosher salt. What makes it kosher? What makes salt kosher? Well, that's the salt that would be used to kosher the meat. That type of granulate, that size of the salt, that grain of salt, is what's used to cover the entire meat from all sides in order for it to have its blood drain out. To that extent, Jews are prohibited to eat blood. Those who adhere to kosher know that. It's just a basic common knowledge. Moreover, one is forbidden, whether Jew or Gentile, but especially Jew, from consuming human flesh, human blood. In fact, I have news for you. If a Jew bites into a piece of bread or a piece of food, breaks a tooth or something, or the gums are bleeding, and takes it out of their mouth and sees that there's blood on it, they wouldn't return it back into their mouth. A Jew cracks open an egg and there's a little spotted blood on it, they'll throw it out. They won't eat it. Even though it can be argued that that's not real blood, because the eggs that we purchase today, the mass-produced eggs, can't even be incubated and would never hatch. There's no real trace of life there. But still, if for some reason there is a little speck of blood, it is discarded. So you see, factually, reality has it that Jews cannot consume any blood, not even the blood of a properly slaughtered animal, let alone of a human being. But still, the anti-Semites knew as a fact, as an established, corroborated fact, that this is what Jews do. They eat blood, and especially for their holy bread on Passover. Why am I sharing this? Because there's so many accusations flying around about the terrible atrocities, quote unquote, that the Israelis are doing. They're perpetrating genocide, and they are hurting these innocent, harmless citizens of Gaza. And I'm sorry, it does hurt. It is painful to watch. It is so sad to see an entire people having to be displaced, people losing their homes, the comfort of their childhood homes, the comfort of the homes that they built with their own hands, the comfort of the homes that they worked for, not knowing what the future holds, and worse, even getting hurt by bombings or by just lack of nutrition and so on. It is terrible. And it's very sad to watch the human plight. But at the same time, it's not something that we brought on. It's not something that we initiated. We did not seek this. This was brought upon us. And as I said over and over again in previous classes, we have an obligation to defend ourselves. But no, we do not consume, Gentile blood in our matzah, nor do we seek to hurt any human being. Just because a lie is repeated again and again and again doesn't make it true. In fact, one of the worst enemies of the Jewish people, the head of the propaganda division for the Nazi party, Goebbels, he actually taught us this rule, that if you say a lie big enough and you say it enough times, it becomes fact. It becomes truth. So no, Jews do not enjoy hurting others. War is the furthest thing from what we want, but when we need to, we have to. And that is what's happening. And I pray to God that it ends quickly and swiftly, so no other human being needs to suffer even one moment more.